Good evening, everyone. I invite you into the behind the scene of myself as the Yoni Gatekeeper as I pass through this season of grief. Now, the question that I would like to start off with today is there hidden blessings between the walls of grief? Now, I can admit that this past season has been an extreme one with deep cuts, lessons, and also enormous blessings. The lessons that I've learned during this season of grief is, as a person that I am who has an open G center, aka a open heart space, I have a gift, an ability of ease to give people access to my godly aura. And in this season, I had allowed access of my presence to individuals that didn't align to my true status of well-being, which brought me to a downfall of undesirable experiences. So today, I share with you the number of experiences that I've encountered within less than 9 weeks. Let's start with May 5th. Where an attack was actually attempted on me by an estranged male who proceeded to harass me with threats of my livelihood and business. This actually left me paranoid and distressed, where I felt energetically robbed after the attack, which was actually recorded via camera in a public place. Yes, I have already shared with authorities and community leaders what has happened. And if any more threats are made towards my safety, I guarantee you an arrest shall be made. Now, to give you some context clues on how this came about, I actually only met this individual once for under an hour to see what he was looking to offer to help financially in expanding my business venture. As a single woman and an entrepreneur, I must admit that challenges does arise when it comes to finding and manifesting money in ways that you may not know that you could manifest in. So sometimes as an entrepreneur woman, we may take the wrong route and we may take advices from friends, colleagues, or people that may steer you into the wrong direction. This estrangement was recommended to me as a business investor by a person who I trusted, but learned quickly after the first encounter that he was actually the boogeyman. And I was being set up for my essence and gift, and the person that I trusted actually put me in the most dangerous situation you could ever imagine. As you can see, I shared an image of the estranged man and some of the messages he sent me on over 30 different disposable phone numbers. This really disturbed me because all of this went on for about, I would say, 36 hours after the attack. I did my research and I found that he has a track record of harassing women and attacking them. I'm not okay with knowing this, but I do trust that my life is worthy enough for safekeeping. I also plan to do a live on how every free woman will run into a boogeyman at least once in their lifetime and how to detect them and repel them away from your presence, aura, and gifts. If you would like, you can take a pause in this recording and you can take a look at this picture. I want everybody, and women especially, to be safe because, again, this is a wild jungle that we live in called life, and it is a must that we share our experiences and make others aware of what's going on in our life so that we can have the thoughts of protection for one another when things like this happen. Now, the second undesirable experience that happened a day after. I then lost a friend of 10 years, which ripped my heart into pieces. Now, losing friends can hurt deeply than losing a lover, because they actually got to see all of your status of evolution. So I was really going through it. But I know with her gone, it put me in a better place of a new perspective of expecting deeper and healthier sisterhood. I do miss the thought of her and wish her well to her next life journey. And because these events were so close to each other, I could barely show up for the work that I love, which was my Yoni Spa services, where I catered to women and focused on alternative approaches to well-being. I was so paranoid that this estranged male would put me and my clients in danger and didn't know how to go about it. Then, 4 weeks later, on June 7th, I lost my grandmother, which really pushed me over the edge because I got my gifts that were transferred from her, and I got my Yoni gatekeeper's awareness through her lineage. And now not only was I unable to energetically show up and make my living as a Yoni gatekeeper, now I was sinking emotionally into a dark spiraling hole. And in between all of this, I was getting behind on my $3,000 rent plus late fees, which quickly became a heavy load that I physically could no longer take part of. Plus, I was actually in a financial bondage with an ex-mate that needed to be dismantled immediately. During all this, I was an emotional wreck. I'm feeling like I could barely show up for anyone nor myself energetically. I was feeling drained and spiritually attacked. I was truly feeling the deep illusion of existence. So about a week and a half ago, I was abruptly escorted out of my business and place of living because I could not come up with $6,000 to pay for another month of rent. This brought me to my knees. To be a single woman of immigrant background and to have no place of her own to call home, to lose her business while trying to stay optimistic of the American dream, to not feel safe nor worthy to call a family member for help because they too had their own problems and don't have time, finance, nor the mental capacity to help me with my life problem. This truly put me in a state of numbness because now, who am I if I can't serve these women and hold space for them at the Yoni Spa? Who am I if the intentional environment that I built up for myself is now nowhere to be found? Who am I if this is where I proclaimed my purpose in life as an active participant of well-being in this prosperous society? And to add to this spiral, 3 days ago, July 14, my beautiful 2-year-old nephew, who was gifted to me as my godson, who was also shared the same birthday as me, drowned in the pool at his extended family home and was pronounced dead. At this point, I have no true expression of how I feel. It's like I'm here but not here at the same time. I do know my heart feels tight, and for some reason, I'm unable to cry. And on top of that, when you turn on your phone, you're getting blasted with news that someone is trying to assassinate a presidential candidate. So it was felt like so much was going on. Honestly, just felt really overwhelmed with this human experience. And I know this isn't happening. And I know this happening isn't just a coincidence. I truly can't help but to think, what if the boogeyman has something to do with all this? I mean, I did find out that his background is from New Orleans. But what if he's so desperate and evil that he went out his way to play in the dark side of the astral realm to try to get at me, since he can never reach me again in the physical realm? What if all that is happening around me is because whatever he's trying to throw my way just keeps bouncing off me and hitting other areas of my life? Or maybe I'm tripping. But what if my ancestral senses are not? What if I know his time of voluntary sin is up? And yet, for some reason, with all this grief, I still feel optimistic about life. I still want to show up for myself and others. I truly feel that this very moment shall pass and everything will be alchemized into more love, peace, and prosperity. I really feel like I incarnated multiple times this season. Grief was a theme of this season. Surrendering and letting it all go is what I've been positioned to do. And something inside me is whispering that this is the perfect time to surrender to what I see and feel. Because I see this new version of myself who will be a lot more exclusive. I have this gift that must be protected and only shared with the correct ones. I also have a heart that should be mirrored to light beings. Beings who are intentional on adding more love into this very existence we call life. Beings who take the time to think outside of the box and see life through a world-class lens. As a Yoni gatekeeper, it's a must that I am surrounded by people, places, and things that nourishes my overall well-being. I have a bigger mission to partake in as a living proof of God's essence in exotic ways. I trust whatever life will take me, it will be fulfilled with more love and laughter, success and pleasure in many ways that put me in the position of a limitless goddess. Before I leave this audio recording and let go what was, as I enter this new chapter of my life, I want to say rest in peace to my majestic grandmother and beautiful nephew. R.I.P. to my friendship of 10 years. R.I.P. to my ex-mate and the financial bondage we are now free from. Rest in hell to the estranged male who threatened my livelihood. I do trust the evil you put out makes it back to you 7 times over. And because of the gifts I am aware of and carry, I know I am protected in this astral realm, and so no harm against me shall prosper in the physical realm. And with that being said, I want to announce that Power V Steam Yoni Spa is currently moving to a new location and will be presented in a new and profound way. We also have a new launch coming for it that is going to fulfill all of your wellness needs. I truly believe in moving forward. I do know that life can sometimes traumatize us to the point where we are stagnant, but I refuse to be cornered by these experiences. Instead, I choose to speak life into what is forward. I choose to acknowledge the blessing of being able to have the mind to continue to process while also creating a more mindful and intentional experience for myself and the ones around me. Because honestly, this is where we are able to exercise our God abilities, our goddess abilities. This is those moments where we can choose and select the thoughts, the words that we exude into our mental space and into this atmosphere that we called life. I do acknowledge and take responsibility for anything that I've done and an action that I've taken that has compromised my overall well-being, knowingly and unknowingly. I wash my hands from this past experience and I start brand new. I cleanse and prepare myself for what I am to truly be aligned to. I expect to have a godly and exotic experience of adventure, pleasure, and so much more. I am aware of my shape-shifting abilities, and I take advantage and I benefit from what I am. So I know that all of this is connecting to what we have to offer this season for our timeless experience that is being projected to happen this October, which is Red Light Special. And this year we have graduated up into the solar plex, which is so interesting because of all of these doors and perspective that I've been gaining is really emphasizing what the solar plex truly means to me and who I am and my self-confidence and where I am going. And I look forward to stepping into the power of this solar plex mindset, fully embodying it and sharing what I truly have gained through all of this as I continue to process and create Red Light Special. This will be an experience, a timeless experience, I must say. I look forward to truly sharing the layers of what it is to be a modern day woman, because I know that a lot of us would love to showcase the fluffy side of our experiences, but in order to get to our heavenly side, we have to really acknowledge the dark side of us and the dark experiences that we've had to overcome in order to gain a proper appreciation of our heavenly knowing. So with that being said, and as for myself, Miss Yoni, I plan to be taking a deep self-care trip to my home, the island of Hispaniola, aka Haiti and Dominican Republic. I plan to recharge my spirit and soul so that I can continue to show up and hold space for spirits of well-being. I take pride in being this Yoni gatekeeper, this woman who associates with spiritual and holistic practices of well-being that often represents a guardian or protector of feminine energy and wisdom. I take pride in embodying the themes of empowerment, healing, and connection to the divine feminine principle. My shape-shifting roles can vary, though generally I serve as a guide or mentor in the spiritual journey of a modern-day goddess, particularly those focused on personal growth, self-discovery, and the honoring of the feminine essence, which is so sweet and fruitful. So I thank you all for tuning in for more love, and I look forward to truly sharing what it is to be a modern day goddess, a ma'at, an ezuli, a woman that is adorned in the most exotic clothing, a woman that is as sweet as honey. I look forward to truly speaking up for the goddess. And with that being said, this is my season of grief. And with love always, I am free. Peace.